Hello, and thank you very much for inviting me to speak to you today. I'm Debra Bowen, Secretary of State for California. First, greetings to the Minnesotans from a fellow Midwesterner. I grew up in northern Illinois, and perhaps it was living close to Chicago that gave me such an abiding interest in election issues. I've long been interested in democracy and worked on issues affecting democracy when I was in the legislature, including work on campaign finance reform and carrying bills that made it more convenient for people to vote. I also wrote the laws that require absentee ballots to be included in the manual count that we have in California, and that require precincts for that manual count to be selected at random. This summit meeting is an important step in improving America's elections. I appreciate all of the time that you are taking to attend this and to participate, and I want to thank the groups that helped organize this summit meeting: the American Statistical Association, the Verified Voting Foundation, the Brennan Center for Justice at New York University School of Law, Common Cause, Citizens for Election Integrity Minnesota, and the Florida Voters Coalition. The systems we use to cast and tally votes in this state are the most fundamental tools of our democracy. After taking office in January of this year, I conducted a top-to-bottom review of the voting systems that are already certified for use in California. The University of California and academic and private sector experts it retained from around the country did the work, and again, I owe thanks to everyone who worked overtime and then some to complete the study in a very short amount of time. As a result of the top-to-bottom review, I made several changes to how voting systems are used in California. My decisions favor voting systems that score high on two very important measuring sticks: transparency and auditability. I limited the use of most direct recording equipment, or DRE, voting machines in California to one per polling place to facilitate access for disabled voters. I also placed numerous security conditions on all of the voting systems that we use. And I am establishing tougher post-election auditing standards that will require California counties to hand count a higher percentage of the ballots cast as a check on the machine count and generally on the accuracy of elections. At the same time the top-to-bottom review was taking place, I established a post-election audit standards working group to look at how California implements our post-election audit law. In California, we have a law that requires elections officials to conduct a hand count of 1% of precincts after each election to check voting system accuracy in recording and tallying people's votes. That law is 40 years old, and I wanted to take a fresh look at whether the flat 1% standard it requires is effective. I also wanted to find out whether there are newer auditing models that might be better. The working group spent an intensive 4 weeks in July of this year reviewing a variety of studies, examining post-election audit models, and talking to national experts in the field of election auditing. I'm pleased that at least two of the working group's members are able to join you for this conference: Philip Stark, statistics professor at the University of California, Berkeley, and Kim Alexander, president of the California Voter Foundation, who is really a jack of all trades when it comes to election integrity issues. The working group recommended that California reform its post-election audits in 3 ways. First, by taking a risk-based approach to conducting post-election audits, by manually counting a higher percentage of precincts above the 1% required by law in close races. Second, by developing an adjustable sample model that will better fit California's needs. And third, by developing a comprehensive approach to auditing, which includes creating rules for escalating an audit when discrepancies are found between the manual count and the machine count. The working group finished its work at the same time as the top-to-bottom review results came back. As I mentioned, as part of the voting system recertification orders following the top-to-bottom review, I placed several new post-election auditing conditions on California voting systems. These conditions will take effect for the February 2008 primary and all elections that follow. First, for the Diebold or Sequoia DRE voting systems, which the top to bottom reviewers identified as high risk, California counties must conduct a 100% manual count audit for all ballots cast on those DREs. Second, for races with a close overall margin of victory, counties will be required to conduct a 10% manual count audit. And third, for the first time, elections officials will be required to escalate manual count audits if significant discrepancies are discovered between the manual and machine count results. Finally, in California, we are finalizing uniform procedures to create more transparency in the manual count audit and more uniformity in the reporting of audit results to the Secretary of State and, most importantly, to the public. My ultimate goal is to move California towards an adjustable sample model. Many of you who are here today have worked hard in an effort to take existing audit models and find ways to tailor them to fit the needs of California and of other states, and I am very appreciative of your efforts. Democracy, by definition, is about free and fair elections. My decisions, including the decision to restrict the use of DRE voting systems and to impose tougher security and auditing standards across the board, are about protecting the integrity of the vote and strengthening voter confidence. I made these decisions because I want people to stop worrying about how or if their vote is being counted and instead focus on what the issues are and who they are voting for. As I said when I announced these decisions in August, I reject the notion that we should not make changes solely because we already own certain voting systems. When the National Transportation Safety Board determines that a car is unsafe, it orders a recall. It doesn't wait until the car maker has sold enough cars to earn a return on its investment before ordering that recall. And when NASA discovers a flaw or a potential safety concern in the space shuttle, it certainly doesn't continue launching missions until it has amortized the cost of building that shuttle system. It scrubs the mission until the problem is fixed. If we cannot ensure that voting systems are secure, accurate, and reliable, then they shouldn't be used solely because we've sunk money into buying them. And in the end, no matter what voting systems we use, we have to be certain that we are doing manual audits, meaningful audits of election results, so that voters can have confidence that every vote was counted as it was cast. Finally, I want to emphasize that the best way for us to move forward towards meaningful post-election audits is to have cooperation among everyone involved in the elections process, including state and local elections officials, academic researchers, and election integrity advocates from different states. By working together, we can rebuild public confidence in our elections and in our democracy. Thank you.